Good morning. Happy Tuesday. How is everyone today? Hopefully, the weather is good everywhere. It seems to be extremely hot temperatures all across the east and south. So, speaking of temperatures, I want to talk about the temperature changing in the market everywhere. So, I think that unless you're hiding under a rock, that you have seen and heard everyone everywhere talking about the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash. And it makes me instantly think of the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And while I do not personally think that the market is going to crash like, the 2008 market, that's because that crash was completely based upon bad lending practices. The lenders and the banks were giving loans to people who could not qualify for loans traditionally, could not pay their bills, and it led to foreclosures, short sales, and lots of despair in the market across the nation, right? So, talking about supply and demand is really what has heated up the market that we're in right now. The last 2 years has been making it so crazy. And with the supply and demand, there's a lot of factors that played into that. The record low interest rates that we've all been seeing over the 40 years, right? And with COVID, really put a little wench in supply for building of homes, repairing of homes. We've also had a lot of natural disasters across the nation and the world that has really, destroyed a lot of homes or, required them to have a lot of repair. But then going back to COVID and the supply, right? The supply of the products, as well as a lot of companies were shut down, a lot of employees were sick. It was really honestly just a cluster across the board, right? So, a true market, if you remember back to your real estate school, I'm sure that they talked about, seller's market, buyer's market, the medium market, and supply and demand, which people really kind of forget about that. That's really what drives these prices up, right? If there's not a lot of homes for sale, then you can increase yours, kind of like price gouging, right? So, while I don't think that the traditional market crash is predicted to happen, everybody's got their opinions on it. We all know. What I do think is going to happen is there is a shift, and I see the shift. Even though I live in a very small coastal area, we usually can see it start to trickle down, and we're a little late, but it's really cool because where we're at, we can just kind of watch from the big guys, and then we can be prepared. Now, I am also very lucky because of our area. We also have military bases all around. So we always have people coming and going. So housing is always going to be a necessity. Anywhere you live, people have to have homes to live in. We also have a shortage of rentals, and I know that that's across the board as well. So does anybody else have a huge shortage of rentals? And I know that that was driving a lot of people into buying over the last few years as well. Hey, good morning. If you're joining us on Facebook, go ahead and click the button so allow StreamYard access so we can see who's joining us this morning. Again, the rentals, yeah, huge shortage of rentals. Absolutely. So I think that that's kind of across everywhere too. The shortage of rentals, the shortage of listings. In our market, we saw a lot of people, selling their homes in California and New York for astronomical prices, and they were making a lot of money. And then they were coming here with their cash and scooping it up and kind of overriding a lot of your average first-time home buyers or even secondary, people that were getting loans. So I've seen a little bit of a shift in that aspect. There's a little bit less of cash buyers. So what is really going to happen here, okay, is that the rates are increasing. I saw a thing come through that they are 6% and over right now. Now, they are still record lows over the last 30 to 40 years. We all know that. We hear that all the time. However, it's hard for someone to look at that at 6% and say, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, it was 2%. That's hard for anyone. People have a hard time of moving forward. We're always looking back and, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But guess what? You can't change that and you can't jump back, right? So, with the rate increases being quite a bit, buyers are going to lose their buyer power. And what that means is what they could have qualified for at the 2, 3, 4% even is going to be a huge difference of what they can qualify for now with this. Okay. So even if you're starting to see a little bit of price adjustments on listings coming down, I don't think that there's going to be a huge change in the listing prices. I think that they're going to continue to increase slowly, not as drastically, but the amount of listings that we have coming on all across the world right now is increasing a lot because sellers are now starting to panic that they're going to miss their opportunity to sell their homes, right? So they're all running out to get them up. Buyers are taking a little bit of a step back. So what's happening? It's evening out just a little bit more, right? Several back on markets, Jane says. Yes. Yes, lots of buyer financing. I have seen that too. Lots of different qualifications are coming up. They're not able to qualify for the same, type of loan or the amount that they were originally thinking about. So that's huge. Like that's the buyer power. They're losing that. So that is making, sellers nervous and buyers nervous. And it's really, really changing the market, right? So is anybody else seeing a lot of price changes coming up on the listing side? Because I think that, sellers are still looking at the market and saying, oh, I'm going to get multiple offers. It's going to be cash. It's going to go over list price. And that's partly our fault, right? As agents, because we have to stay ahead of it. We have to constantly look at the market every day and know what's happening and be that source of information for everyone, right? Even if they don't listen, we still have to provide it and be a big part of that so that we're that first wall of defense against, letting them down or giving them the misinformation. Because I know getting listings right now, everybody is like, oh, it's the perfect time to sell. You're going to get multiple offers. It's going to go over list price. You'll have it under contract in a couple of days. But over the last couple of weeks, that has started to change a little bit. And I'm sure, in different areas, it'll take a different amount of time. But it's really interesting to see. Yeah, sellers think we are still in the same market, but things are definitely changing. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what happens. And it's so hard right now. As they have a listing and they want to list it a little high just to see what happens. And that's really hard because honestly, and anytime we're in a market and it starts to change, our clients are always a little bit behind us. And even though we're the experts, they don't always listen, right? Yeah. Okay, they said they had a closing and 2 more under contract in the past few weeks. One was the 8th offer after 50 showings. Yeah, that's hard. And I think that, that's going to start to change a little bit. Maybe it won't take as long to get the buyers under contract. I mean, I think that, if you work with a lot of buyers, you'll appreciate that. I mean, I think in our area, our average price point is around 300,000. And I think anything above that right now is really sitting a few more days longer, if not a couple of weeks, which is crazy because I mean, they were, getting multiple offers on the first day and you had to drop whatever you were doing to run out the door to go show houses, right? It's crazy. So let's talk a little bit about what it means for your business when there is a shift coming, right? So you need to, like I said, is stay up to date on the market. That's the best thing that you can do, is to prepare your sellers and make sure that you're educating them, okay? And tell them, listen, the market is changing. You don't need to say like, hey, you missed your opportunity, but the expectations are going to have to be different. And when it comes to sellers, they want the most money. And it's hard to wrangle them in a little bit, but they're going to start to see it. They're going to start to see it. So to protect your business moving forward, because the market, when it changes like this, it's going to slow down a little bit more. And if you have been recently licensed over the last 2 years, most of us, and even if you've been in real estate for any amount of time, you have gotten used to the fact of not really having to lead generate, probably because the market's been so hot. Buyers and sellers, they're all excited. They've all been wanting a piece of it. And you haven't had to do a lot of traditional real estate lead gen in your business, right? So, as sad as it's going to be, a lot of people that got licensed over the last 2 years in real estate are going to bow out. It happens every time there is the slightest shift in the market. When things get hard, it's hard to wrangle in your business. So, what can we start to do to protect our business right now? Okay. You really have to start to go back to what we have talked about previously, which is creating a schedule that has real tasks in it for you to be doing in your real estate business. This will help you start to do your lead generation every day, every week, and start working on your business like it's a business. Okay. You really got to work your business the right way. The whole like just working stuff as it comes in and just barely staying afloat is not going to fly when you don't have the business coming in, which is going to happen. Okay. So you need to take the special time to nurture your clients, your database. And if you don't have a database right now, you better get on it and start putting everybody in it, okay? Because over the next few months and the next year, you're really going to be working your database. If you haven't touched your database in the last couple of years, I understand sometimes it's hard just to keep your head above water, but you're going to have to do all of these traditional types of things. I'm not saying you're going to have to be out there and door knock and cold call people. I don't suggest that sort of stuff. It does work really well for certain people, and that may be the route that you take. But what I'm saying now is you have got to start working your database and taking care of your people, going that extra mile, slowing down and focusing on your business, okay? It's also the perfect time to start reevaluating your business expenses, okay? Because with the rising cost of gas and the cost of everything else, groceries, everything. A lot of subscriptions that I subscribe to for my business, I have recently gotten notified that they're going to be increasing their price, that they didn't want to do it, but they have to now. Okay. So this is the time to start cutting out the fat in your business and really focusing down. Yep. Get back on track. That's right. They said they've got to get back on track. They don't even lead generate anymore. There's no time. But yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yep. We've all been just, trucking through, like we haven't had to worry about that. But the reality is when everybody stops doing that and the business starts to slow down and then everybody starts lead generating again all at the same time, that's when a lot of real estate agents are going to be like, that's it. I'm not making any money. I got to go out, because being commission based is hard if you don't have multiple streams of revenue coming in, right? So go back to the expenses, look at stuff that you don't need. What is making you money? What is the ROI, right? If you are paying for, a virtual assistant to do all of that stuff, maybe it's time to scale back some things and just focus on the meat and potatoes from somebody who doesn't eat meat, okay? But focus on the pasta. Focus on the stuff that you really need to get back to the basics, okay? It's going to be really important because with the rising costs of everything, everybody is, going to be making a little bit less money probably in some areas. So this is the time to really focus on how you can make more money with less expenses. Okay. Maybe you don't need a full staff for everything. Maybe you need to be working at home more. Maybe you need less Starbucks. That one is for me. But you really got to get back in this. Creating that schedule, that daily schedule will really, really help you start doing the daily tasks that you need to do. And you know that we have one in the group, and I'll reshare that for you guys. And you guys can tweak it, make your own and stuff. It's just a starting point, but you really do need to have a schedule. Work your business like a business. I'll sound like a broken record every Tuesday. It's fine. Hopefully somebody will listen at some point. But the roller coaster ride that we are on for real estate gets even more intense. Think about the Jurassic Park ride at Universal, right? I know Jen Carr knows what I'm talking about. But that's what happens every time there's a shift, okay? And then everybody's going to be running to go do the same thing. So let's get ahead of the game. Let's put our business first. Take a good time to reflect, see where we want to go, and start to prepare. We don't need to be running around that the sky is falling. That's not going to happen. You can still be in real estate. You don't need to go get a part-time job. All is not lost, but you got to start doing the business tasks. You got to keep pushing through and not sitting around at your home doing yoga in the middle of the day and just waiting for somebody to call you, right? That's right. I know this has to be Jen Carr because she says that dang drop slide at the water park. That's what's going to happen in our real estate business, guys. You don't want to do that. So some past episodes that I think would be really helpful for you to listen to or watch to get back into this category of lead generating in a more traditional way, taking the time to focus on your business and work your database. Okay. So first up, episode 19, which is the perfect day in real estate, which we talk about so much more in depth of that perfect schedule, right? Which is different for everyone. Don't get me wrong, but you have to have a plan. You have to have a schedule. Flying by the seat of your pants does not work. We drop the ball, right? We all do. So with that one, the perfect day in real estate, and it also has the schedule that you can download, okay? Episode 6, become a listing generation machine. Even though listings are becoming a little awkward right now for some of us, you can still work on generating them, but just set up that expectations with the sellers that, hey, maybe it's not going to go as fast. Maybe it's not going to go as high, but you can still get them sold and for a really good price. Okay. Next up, Facebook ads for real estate agents. We talk about this one all the time because it works numerous times over and over. You can use it for everything: buyers, sellers, and lead generating, just to build up your database, right? Because we all know that any type of paid leads, and even sometimes our personal referral leads, are not ready to go right away, right? But building that database that you can nurture is very, very, very helpful. I think we also did a training on newsletters too, right? And I think that would be really good to check out again, because that would be nurturing your database and getting everybody in there. You're really going to want to take that extra time to love on your clients and be present. And it doesn't have to be on multiple social media platforms. We've talked about in the past about streamlining and simplifying your social media by repurposing your content, right? So if you're cutting back on your business expenses and maybe getting rid of, some virtual assistants, or even your paid social media platforms that you're using to schedule posts and stuff, right? So just create basic content, and then you can share the same ones across them every couple of days and mix and match it up, right? So you got to love on there. You got to be present. You got to be that local celebrity, but you got to take care of people and come from a place of value, because everybody who is recommending you is going to have that connection with you. And then the person that they're sending you to is going to want to know why that person's recommending you, right? So this is the perfect time before it gets crazy, I'm telling you, to take this time, love on your people, love on your database, or build your database, right? And trim that fat. Trim the fat on all the expenses, because I know that as real estate agents, we are nickeled and dimed to death. Everybody has their hand out wanting us to pay for an awesome system that's guaranteed to give us leads or help us nurture them or build this or build that. I have no idea. It's every day somebody is calling to help with the business, right? So take that time and look at your business. You know, people who have traditional companies and are CEOs, they have meetings every month with their panels, their boards, and they sit down and they go through their expenses, right? So that's what we have to do. We have to start looking at it from a business point and being prepared for that shift in the market. Now, if this is your first shift in the market, don't be scared. As long as you do the stuff that you have to do, you got this. You got all of us. We're all here to help. And that's the most important thing, right? You have support, because if you're out in the real estate world, you know, trying to swim the ocean by yourself, it's hard. So use your people around you, use your mentors, use anybody you can for support to help you if you don't know. Okay. Price reductions are coming back. I don't know that there's going to be too much foreclosures and short sales yet. I'm sure that they will be back soon with the rising cost of everything and people probably losing their jobs a little bit, maybe. But I don't think it's going to be a traumatic experience where your whole town turns into destitute homes. Okay. So yes, there's lots of trainings and everywhere. Jane says to access all the trainings in your brokerage and your associations. Absolutely, 100%. Whatever you have access to, you need to start learning, sucking it all in right now, and preparing your business, right? That's what we do. We stay ahead of the game. And you, out of everybody else, right, you have access to the market. You can pull the trends. You can see exactly what is happening every day, every week, every month. So staying ahead of the game is really the key to winning it, right? So the last suggestion that I have is, you know, if you haven't joined our email list, make sure you do. Make sure you sign up. That way, you know, you'll get any tips and tricks that we have, all of our freebies, you know, that we share with you guys. We're here to help make you guys' life better, and we don't ask for anything in return, right? We're all here to grow together and support, okay? And of course, if anybody has any questions about joining the our MREA Elite team, we would love to have you and see if you're a good fit for our team, because we can help streamline your business and keep it on track, right? So I hope everybody has a great week. The sky is not falling, but I want to hear about what's happening in your market. So shoot me a message. And I'm going to see you all next Tuesday. Bye, friends.